Welcome back to the Skytech-Lens, where we break down more than just engines. Today we're not talking about horsepower but harvest power. For decades, U.S. wheat was the global standard, reliable, dominant, and trusted. But by 2025, that dominance faded. Major buyers like the Philippines, France, South Korea, and Mexico started looking elsewhere. They turned to Canada, Australia, and Argentina, not just for price, but for reliability. The U.S. lost traction, struggling with new regulations and outdated systems, while competitors upgraded. Let's explore how the crown slipped. For decades, buying U.S. wheat was a gold standard in the global market. Importers around the world relied on American wheat for one simple reason: certainty. The U.S. was known for its quality, consistency, and on-time delivery, making it the preferred choice for millers and bakers everywhere. But starting in the early 2020s, cracks began to show. Small delays, new paperwork, and regulatory hurdles started to erode that hard-earned trust. U.S. ports became notorious bottlenecks, plagued by confusing environmental and labor rules that slowed shipments and frustrated buyers. For international buyers, even a 2-week delay could mean production shutdowns, missed contracts, and broken promises to their own customers. Meanwhile, Canada and Australia saw an opportunity and moved quickly to fill the gap left by the U.S. Canada modernized its rail and export systems, guaranteeing delivery dates and building a reputation for reliability. Australia invested heavily in digital platforms, offering buyers full transparency and real-time tracking from farm to port, something U.S. exporters struggled to match. These countries weren't just selling wheat, they were selling peace of mind, and buyers noticed the difference. Sticking with the U.S. now meant uncertainty and risk. Switching to Canada or Australia meant stability and confidence in every shipment. The U.S. still produced some of the world's best wheat, but it lost the most valuable product of all: trust. As a result, the competition surged ahead, leaving American wheat struggling to keep up. Logistical issues were just the start. Chemical residues, especially glyphosate, became a bigger problem. As countries like South Korea slashed residue limits, U.S. wheat suddenly faced rejection at ports. The American response was slow and fragmented, with no unified strategy. Farmers struggled to adapt, and the government's pushback only worsened perceptions. Canada, meanwhile, acted fast, guiding farmers, investing in testing, and guaranteeing compliance. Canadian wheat became the symbol of safety and reliability. Buyers in Seoul could trust Canadian shipments to meet new standards. The U.S. lost sales not because of unsafe wheat, but because it failed to manage risk perception. Canada turned a crisis into a marketing advantage. The U.S. was left behind. For decades, the U.S.-Mexico grain trade was a model of cross-border cooperation. Seamless, efficient, and built on a foundation of trust between American farmers and Mexican buyers. Shipments moved quickly, and both sides relied on predictable schedules to keep food production running smoothly. But in 2025, new U.S. border protocols upended this balance. Suddenly, redundant inspections, digital paperwork glitches, and unpredictable delays became the new normal, creating confusion and frustration for everyone involved. Trucks that once cleared customs in just a few hours now sat idle for days, sometimes even longer, leaving perishable grain at risk and threatening the stability of Mexican food production lines. Costs soared, not because the wheat itself was more expensive, but because uncertainty and delays made every shipment a gamble. Logistics managers scrambled to adapt, but the unpredictability drove up prices at every step. Mexican buyers, desperate for reliability and stability, began searching for alternatives. They soon turned to Canada, seeking a partner who could guarantee timely delivery. Canada's modern rail system offered uninterrupted, direct delivery deep into Mexico, bypassing the headaches of the U.S. border entirely. Canadian Pacific Kansas City quickly became the new lifeline for Mexican grain buyers, providing a smooth, reliable route that sidestepped U.S. border chaos. Mexican companies responded by signing long-term deals with Canadian suppliers, locking in stable prices and dependable delivery for years to come. The U.S. lost massive market share, undone not by competition, but by its own red tape and regulatory missteps. Canada simply built a better railroad around the problem, investing in infrastructure and partnerships that paid off. The shift was swift and decisive, reshaping North American grain trade for years to come. Canada's remarkable rise as an agricultural leader began with a crisis: the sudden collapse of its canola market, which sent shockwaves through farming communities and threatened the livelihoods of thousands of producers. But instead of waiting for the storm to pass, Canada made a bold pivot, shifting its focus to wheat with a daring forward-thinking strategy that would soon reshape its entire agricultural landscape. The government stepped in, investing heavily in infrastructure upgrades and cutting-edge research, modernizing rail lines, expanding grain terminals, and supporting sustainable farming practices to boost productivity and efficiency. Yet the real breakthrough came with digital traceability. Now buyers anywhere in the world could simply scan a QR code and instantly see exactly where, when and how each batch of wheat was grown and handled. This unprecedented level of transparency built trust with international buyers, setting a new global standard for food safety, quality, and accountability in agricultural exports. Canada wasn't just selling wheat anymore, it was selling data, assurance, and a reputation for reliability that buyers could verify for themselves. While the US was caught up in policy debates and slow to adapt, Canada quietly built the future of grain exports, investing in innovation and infrastructure. The canola crisis, once seen as a disaster, became the catalyst for a wave of innovation, transforming Canada into a true wheat powerhouse on the world stage. Every misstep and hesitation by the US became a fresh opportunity for Canada to surge ahead, capturing new markets and setting higher standards. In the end, it was a masterclass in turning crisis into conquest, proving that bold action and innovation can turn even the toughest setbacks into lasting success. As US market share plummeted, Washington finally acted with the Strategic Grain Reliability Act. The plan modernized ports, streamline export rules, and launch a national digital traceability platform. It aimed to rebuild trust and match Canada's transparency. Funding was set aside for research and sustainable farming practices. Industry groups cheered, but politics stalled progress. The bill got bogged down in debates and delays. Meanwhile, Canada kept signing new contracts and strengthening its lead. Every month of US delay was another win for Canada. The US was stuck at the starting line while Canada raced ahead. Would the act arrive in time to matter? The global wheat trade has changed. America is now playing catch-up. The real loss isn't just sales, but trust. The US clung to old models while competitors innovated with agility and transparency. The Strategic Grain Reliability Act could spark a comeback, but is it enough? Canada's rise was no accident. It was strategy, investment, and timing. Can the US adapt and win back buyers, or is the trust gap too wide? Should America focus on leapfrogging with next-gen ag tech, not just catching up? The race isn't over, but the US is running out of track. The next move is critical. The chessboard has been reset. Dominance is never guaranteed. Can American wheat rebuild global confidence, or is Canada's lead here to stay? The answer lies in innovation, not protectionism. Should the US double down on ag tech and transparency? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you found this breakdown valuable, like and subscribe for more deep dives into the engines that power our world. Thanks for watching a video, and subscribe the channel now for more updates. Thanks.